Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Liebherr 2019 ITTF World Championships, coming to you live from Budapest, Hungary. I'm your commentator, Adam Bobrow, and this is the men's doubles semifinals coming out onto court now. The Dragon, the captain, the dictator, Ma Long, the favorite to win the men's singles event, and his teammate, the Youth Olympic gold medalist, Wang Chuqin. And on the other side of the table, the other competitors, the Dark Knight in the front, Ling Gaoyuan, and behind him, Da Pang, Liang Jingkun, world number 3 and world number 9 respectively, will be battling in this all-China semifinals. I'm Adam Bobrow, and with me, Don Parker. Don, how you doing?
Doing well, looking forward to this match. I think it's very interesting to watch how the Chinese are actually trying out their doubles combinations. Both these pairs haven't played together a lot. They've played with other partners. Clearly they've got one eye on Japan. A gold medal at the Olympic Games, of course, is massive, probably the ultimate in doubles. More so probably than winning the world title. So interesting to watch how they're changing their pairs around. Who will be their selections for Japan? They're going to have to settle down fairly soon to give those combinations good preparation for the Olympics, but I still don't think they're quite there. I think they'll be watching here with great interest. These two pairs are actually seeded number 8, I think, and number 18, and clearly that's not the case in terms of their actual ability. They're probably in the top 4 seeds without a shadow of a doubt, but because they've not played very much together, the seedings at 8 and 18 are reflective of that very fact. So interesting, it's going to be fascinating. Who's going to win? I'm very nervous to back against Ma Long, whoever he's playing with. Mixed doubles, men's doubles, singles, he's the man.
Yeah, generally that seems like a good rule of thumb for the guessing game. The 18th seeds were Liang Jingkun and Ling Gaoyuan, or the other way around?
Ma Long and Wang Chuqin are seeded 18.
Ah, okay, a little bit less experience together. The 18-year-old and the 30-year-old Ma Long, the Marvel fan slash young father, who really against Hugo Calderano looked so strong, looked to be in such incredible form, and against Liang Jingkun as well, just absolutely in control. And now with Wang Chuqin, you know, Wang Chuqin was nervous the first time they played, and it showed. He was a bit streaky, and that tends to be his game right now. He's dangerous for a limited time, and then at other times he finds himself sort of stuck in one mode. This is what makes Ma Long so incredible, is that he can flip any mode he wants. Just at any time, it seems. It's so difficult to get him off his game. But the only two people that were really serious threats to challenge him once Fan Zhendong was knocked out of the singles are the two players in black on the other side of the table, Don.
He's dispensed with one of them already, and I suspect he'll dispense with the other one tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, whenever the semi-final is. But
Wang Chuqin's knee there, interestingly enough, the youngest player on the court by some years. I mean, I think by 4 years, Liang Jingkun at 22 years old and Wang Chuqin at 18. But yes, in terms of dispensary and disposing of opponents, I would be of a similar conviction as you, Don. I think head-to-head in their internals, Ma Long is just quite dominant. I'll get the specifics to you in just a bit. The righty-lefty combo on both sides. Here's a look at who they beat to get here. The Czechs, the Hong Kong pair, Chinese Taipei team, Koreans Jungyoung Shik and Lee Sang-soo in the last round. I'm always curious to see how players handle pressure. I think that's one of the biggest questions, but as we talked about, with the 22-year-old Liang Jingkun and the 24-year-old Ling Gaoyuan, the Dark Knight, there just is a sense of freedom when you're playing against your teammates. Beating Israel, Belarus, Japan's Tomokazu Harimoto and Yuto Kizukuri, and then Ho Kwon Kit and Wang Chunting of Hong Kong. There have been some tough opponents getting tougher and tougher, but now the toughest yet, Mohamed El Raudi from Egypt, our umpire for the match. Then they do this cool spinny shot, trippy transition into the Australian assistant umpire, Stephen Gillespie. Yeah,
done a great job, the officials from all over the world. It's some tough calls to make on service, on a few edge balls, but in fairness to them, they've done a consistent job. They've also done well keeping the game going. Any players taking their time, they've politely asked them to keep the game going. I think the ball boys working, the ball girls working at the back of the court has worked well, and the games are flowing a little bit better, a little bit more play as opposed to people taking their time picking up the ball. So some interesting changes, but I think all for the good at this point in time, and being well enforced by the officials.
Yeah, no question about it. They're doing their job very well and keeping it exciting for the fans at home. Now, in case you're curious who's on the other side of the bracket, the other semifinal, which you'll have a chance to see following this match, it's Portugal's Tiago Apollonia and João Monteiro versus the mixed pairing of Romania's Ovidiu Ionescu and Spain's Alvaro Robles, who've done incredibly well. Spain to go this far in a mixed pairing. I mean, really, those two have a lot of experience and show you how important it is to have your time playing together to learn each other's game. Here we go, best of 7.
And just to say, with those two pairs, that's the first time either Portugal or Spain have won a medal at the World Championship. So history in that term. They're guaranteed a bronze medal. So that's just showing how the sport's developing around the world, I guess.
So congratulations to you at home for being able to watch history made live. You're in the right spot at the right time. Now, the service warning was for the height of the toss before. Again, it's when the ball leaves the hands that it must come up, say, about 15 centimeters. 15.25 is the net height.
Well, I've not gone metric, I'm afraid, so I'm inches and feet.
Oh,
and
6 inches.
It's 6 inches, my understanding, which is roughly that. Well, it is the height of the net.
Don, we just had a bromance moment because I was converting it to metric for you. I grew up on inches. I was just trying to be a part of your world, to Little Mermaid it a little bit.
Well, in the UK, it's interesting. We've gone metric in certain things, but we've not got metric in other things. The majority of people, we've certainly not got metric on meters. We still tend to talk about inches, feet, and yards, or at least the older generation do.
I guess I'm an old soul. Well, here we go. We'll see if there are any switches here in terms of going metric on the table with the dictator in red closest to the camera. They're down right now. Wang, Chuqin, and Ma Long, 2-4 with the serves on their side. And again, from an experience standpoint, you've got the most experienced player with the least experienced player on court, which is a bit harsh, but the truth considering who else is on the court. Wang Chuqin, only 18 years old, a youth Olympic gold medalist. I mean, he's played a final on the World Tour. He's been very strong, but still mentally handling pressure and playing the opponents that are out there now. This will be a learning and a growing experience, win or lose.
I think the left-handed, right-handed combination, for me, is the best combination. I mean, it creates that little bit of space down the middle of the table to dominate with the forehands, and there's less chance of players getting in each other's way. So I think China's philosophy, putting a left-hander with a right-hander, is appropriate. Ma Long, to me, is a notch above anybody else. Would I put him with Wang Chuqin, the 18-year-old in the Olympic Games? Would I stick him with the left-hander, Lin Gaoyuan? I think that would be my first choice. But you're clearly excited by that one, Adam.
Well, I mean, he almost took his head off. He had to stop his racket. This was, I've been dreaming about that shot that goes around the player and comes back on the table. With the racket speed that LIANG Jingkun has, he had to hold up really quickly there. But as you were saying, in terms of testing out players, it is an interesting experiment, the mix and match of it all. You've got, as you mentioned, the player a notch above everybody else, the best player in the world as far as most are concerned at the moment. Of course, Fan Zhendong making a case for that, but with an 18-year-old who seems unlikely to be at the Olympic Games in Tokyo 2020, it's clear they're considering him, or why else put him out here? Lin Gaoyuan has had a lot more experience on the World Tour in the last 2 years. Since Dusseldorf 2017, he was let out of the cage, and he's become a free-range pro. I mean, really has had a lot of experience now, taking, the first title of the year in Hungary, playing the final against Ma Long in Qatar. He's getting better and better, mentally tougher and tougher. What about Ma Long and Lin Gaoyuan? What about Chuqin and Ma Long? But if you've got Fan Zhendong as well, maybe you want Ma Long in 2 singles. So maybe testing out the doubles to leave Ma Long out. That, I think, is the theory with Japan. That's why they're testing out Kazuhiro Yoshimura, which was news to me because much like An Jae-hyun, who just beat Jang Woo-jin, Kazuhiro Yoshimura isn't in the top few in Japan. I mean, An Jae-hyun is number 10 in Korea. I can look up Kazuhiro Yoshimura. I'm guessing he's somewhere around between the 6 and the 8 spot. This is the type of rally we expect, except Liang Jingkun is going to make that shot quite consistently. He's very mobile for a guy his size, very, say, explosive.
7, 8.
So they were down at least 4-8. I remember seeing that score 3 in a row for the 30-18 combo of Ma Long and Wang Chuqin. It's a good long push, but well placed deep into the backhand corner to send Wang Chuqin away from the table.
Lin Gaoyuan did well there. He picked it up. It was a good long push, but that backhand topspin.
Let 9, 7.
Very rarely see the long fast serve in doubles. Obviously, you can't use direction as a weapon. You have to serve in the diagonally opposite half of the table.
Well, just to jump on that, I guess you can use it a lot less, right? But I do think it's important to take advantage of that. I'll see people serve in near the midline sometimes and jam somebody up because they're expecting it more to the deep corner.
No, and I think you're right, Adam. I think it is important to use the long serve every now. Otherwise, you can just stand over the table and wait for the short one. So you need to send in the long fast one. But I think in doubles, it's more key to keep most of the serves tight.
Agreed.
8, 10.
So now with the third towel break, 2 game points. But the only point I was making, which I think is sort of interesting, is as you were saying, you have less of the table to work with. You have to serve to half of the table. So within that, keeping it unpredictable in terms of placement, if you can, occasionally serve a little bit more to the middle and occasionally a little bit more off the side of the table. Sometimes that can jam up the opponents. Right here, 1 game point saved. It'll be very interesting to see how the players play when the ball does hang off the side of the table just ever so slightly. It's a best of 7, so we're likely to see it at some point. 1 more game point to go for Da Pang in the Dark Knight on the receive. That flip kill. Wang Chuqin, one thing that he is, he's streaky, but he's gutsy. He's very unafraid, and could that come from being young? I mean, he's shown up in these streaks to pull off some amazing shots under pressure in the last round as well. And here, Ma Long and Wang Chuqin have saved 2 game points. No warning yet. It's a lot of conversation between points.
The serve drifted long. Wasn't a long, fast serve. I think that was a pretty poor serve, to be honest. But in fairness to Wang Chuqin, he's there. He's in straight away with the backhand topspin, no hesitation. Mentally tough. That's 2 big shots.
Yeah, definitely a very decisive opening attack. And he's solid over the table, too. We've seen with that Chiquita or simply the backhand flick that he can generate a lot of spin. Oh, break off the net, an apology or acknowledgement, as you would say, but they take the game, coming back from down 4-8. Ma Long and Wang Chuqin up by 1 here. They take the first, and we'll be back for game number 2 right after this. Back for game number 2. Don, you were saying to me, we had a little convo between games.
Wang to serve. Double.
I've got to be careful what I say to you between games, but it was a very interesting discussion, wasn't it? We were thinking about Ma Long playing with Wang Chuqin, and could the Chinese be thinking about, you know, Ma Long? Okay, the injury's clearly completely cleared up, but could they be thinking, let's play him in the singles, let's rest him in the doubles, hence the reason he's playing with the teenager here? Or alternatively, they've got high hopes for the teenager. They think he is potentially part of their doubles combinations to go out there for a gold medal. And of course, we also discussed that a gold medal in doubles is equal to a gold medal in singles on the medal table.
Right. In terms of medal count, it's simply a sheer number, regardless of the event. But yeah, for me, the strongest singles player plays 2 singles. The question is, who's stronger at Tokyo 2020? By that point in time, will it be Ma Long? Will it be Fan Zhendong? Right now, it looks like it would be Ma Long in terms of stability against foreigners, because he's only going to be playing foreigners. Although that being said, in the last year, he's collected more losses to foreigners than Fan Zhendong. So, but if you have Ma Long play 2 singles, that would be, for me, why they're investing in Chuqin and Fan Zhendong, getting their experience in doubles here. I actually need to go back and check. There have been so many different events. I just imagine they would be together. They've played so much on the World Tour. I'm going to try to look back at the entries.
Signal under the table there from Gaoyuan, letting Liang know what he wants him to do, but that's a good return of serve. There's the signal. Liang now knows the serve his partner would like him to do. But again, that's a great backhand return. We've seen Wang Chuqin do that several times in this match. And 4-1 to 4-all.
So Don, in the seedings, I haven't found Chuqin and Fan Zhendong. It's possible that, well, I mean, they've played a lot on the World Tour, so I'm guessing at this point they actually didn't play this event. Maybe it was a limitation to how many you could enter from association. Little fun fact, or not so fun for the Chinese fans in theory, or for Chuqin and Fan Zhendong. As strong as they are in doubles, they've lost more than once to Yuto Kizukuri and Tomokazu Harimoto. Although I don't think we'll see Yuto Kizukuri at the Tokyo Olympics in 2020. Some other left-handed doubles players who are quite strong. You have to imagine they'll have Harimoto playing 2 singles. That makes it really interesting. A lot of possibilities in shuffling for Japan to send their strongest team. And right now, just a 1-point game. Ma Long and Wang Chuqin up 6-5.
Again, the youngster brave there with that long, fast push. Have to say, he's impressed me. He did, of course, I think you mentioned it, Adam, that he did win the Youth Olympic Games in Buenos Aires 2018. Runner-up in the World Junior Championships 2017. It is quite interesting now watching the top players. So many of them have won the World Junior Championships. And it brings into this the melting pot. Do you have to be a top junior in the world to be a top senior? So if you've not made it at 17, you're not on the... You're not up there in the top 10 juniors in your age group. Are you going to make it as a senior? It's an interesting stat.
Yeah, and to answer your question, my answer is no, you don't have to. I think it's a good indicator of skill at an early age, but it's definitely not a limitation. There are a lot of people that develop quite late. In terms of major titles or becoming world number ones, things, you know, we see a lot of junior world champions excel, but we also see a lot of junior world champions, if you look through the names and go, what happened to that person? Why don't I see that person anymore? They just sort of dropped off or got lost in the shuffle in the transition. Like a college athlete going pro in many sports, it's just the next level, and that's why it's interesting. You know, you've got a lot of young, skilled players right now, from Truls Morgaard and, of course, Tomokazu Harimoto, or An Jae-hyun is 19. But for Tomokazu Harimoto at 15 years old, I mean, it's possible he could dominate the game. But he's got a really strong set of opposition out there, and players like Fan Zhendong, and even some of the young Chinese players that haven't quite been let out to play on the international circuit.
His technique there, Ma Long, he just sort of comes in with the open racket. You think he's going to push it and then bang.
Pancake flip.
Is that what we call that one, the pancake flip? I like the theme of food. Strawberries, chiquitas, bananas, pancakes.
Yeah, if you work long days, food's on the mind a lot. It's very easy to satisfy that. And here we go, 11-7, a delicious game number 2 victory for Ma Long and Wang Chuqin. We'll be back for game number 3 right after this.
Of the game. Line serve. Level.
Back for game number 3, the team in red in the lead. I'm with the dictator. Tell them that at the front door.
Good backhand block down the line by Lin. There it goes, took it early.
Good bend on it too, a little bit of side spin to keep it out of reach. Nice block by Ma Long there. Did you see that? He blocked Wang Chuqin's shot by standing still. We'll get to see it in replay. Man, what if he jumped and it went through his legs and they won the point? Never seen it before. Wouldn't be surprised if Sacraton did it.
It's going to happen. I've not seen that one yet either. Kokiniwa would take it on, but I think those short legs might make it difficult.
He has to be the one hitting. Maybe Maharu Yoshimura in front, Koki Niwa in the back. If you just tuned in and you caught that mid-thought, please go back and watch this entire thing for context on ITTV. Yeah, again, the bold play of Wang Chuqin. I've seen him take down some serious opponents. I think Fan Zhendong earlier this year had a big win. He's just so dangerous because he doesn't hesitate. And that means when he's on fire, I mean, it's tough to find answers. You know, Simon Gauzy had a very tough match a moment ago with Matthias Falk. And Matthias Falk did not let up. He just was so aggressive. And even though Simon played quite well, he just didn't find any answers to really stop the attack. And Wang Chuqin can have that effect on the opponent as well.
4, 3.
Signal there from Ma Long. Oh, chop block. We like the chop block today.
Yeah, I actually got a text message from a friend. I've talked about this in the past, but there was some time off. Waldner did the chop block more than anyone I had ever seen, incredibly well. And then it felt like it went out of style for a little bit, and then sort of back in style now. He was even mentioning that Kong Ling Hui, as Ian Marshall would call him, the Chinese Waldner, the Waldner that was developed by China to counter and see how the shake hands game could fend, because everyone was pen holders for a while in China, and that just suffered on the backhand side. Lu Guoliang saving that by developing the reverse pen hold backhand. RPB, as it's known to the TT netizens. Were you able to see the match between Fan Zhendong and Liang Jingkun?
No, I was commentating on the next table, so I cheekily looked over a few times, but didn't get a real feel for it.
Definitely something to go back and watch. I have to catch the whole thing myself, just caught glimpses of the highlights. But the level of play is quite promising for Liang Jingkun, who is still in the men's singles event, so a hot contender. Again, that is the event of glamour here. Good placement here, keeping it near the back edge. Oh,
Oops.
Back edge of the table. Speaking of which, even closer to the back edge, so close that it actually touched it.
But it's the mental toughness there to go for it.
Right.
That impresses me. You make the shot, you don't make the shot. It's having the guts, the tactical knowledge to know that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, Wang Chuqin for me has a very bright future and a secure spot in the top 4 for the Chinese national team.
There was a flash then. There's some flash photography or a mobile phone with a flash. But
that seemed so big, it was almost like lightning. I thought it might have been some of the ceiling lights turning or something.
Yeah, you're probably right. It was a big flash, wasn't it? I don't think a little mobile would have had that effect.
That being said, cell phones are getting quite impressive these days, huh? I saw some pictures outside. I just can't believe coming from a cell phone. So the lead has been taken over by Liang Jingkun and Lin Gaoyuan.
I think when we're talking about the quality of pictures, I think the picture we've been watching here has been as good as I've ever seen. I know we've got 17 cameras, and we've said that a few times, that it's more cameras than ever to cover a table, but it's the angles, it's the quality of the slow motion, it's the positioning of the cameras. It's just been a great picture.
Yole! Oh my goodness! That shot right before Ma Long just decided to spill it off the side of the table created some of these really wide angles. Have to see this one again. Must see TV. There's the one. And the leaping shot. Oh, Liang Jingkun didn't have much room in front of him. Could have hit it right into the back. That could have been a good opportunity for a through the leg shot. Around the net roller.
The man of the moment for me is the youngster. He was the man of that point. 2 great shots.
Yeah, really, it's so impressive. And a lot of people ask, are there players Harimoto's age behind closed doors in China right now? Well, he's 3 years older, give or take. But he's a lot younger than all the other players we're seeing on the World Tour for China right now. And to see the way he follows that ball all the way in, just prepared for anything. I mean, that's a very high level of focus. It's a fine balance between being relaxed but being ready to spring out when you need. And now it's 3 game points for a 3-0 lead. Again, a heavy spin ball on the run. Wang Chuqin is teaming up quite well, and I'd say doing more than his part here with Ma Long. And they are 1 game away from a clean sweep and a spot in the finals. Stay right here. Game 4 coming up right after this.
the game. Wang to serve. Level.
Players back for game number 4. Wang Chuqin with the serve. Now remember, no coaches in the corners. So this will be a tactical exercise in finding problems with the opponents or some strategy to shut down the wild attacks. And wild's a funny thing to call attacks, I guess, that are coming down on the table, but simply unpredictable. A chop block for the win. The variation in his chop blocks are just so pretty. You were with me for the guillotine chop blocks of Koki Niwa earlier.
After the game, I went outside, and there's quite a few supporters over from England, and that's all they could talk about. Niwa's chop block.
It's become almost, you know, English is an evolving language, and I feel like Niwa has taken on a new meaning. You can go to a table tennis hall anywhere in the world, and if someone does it well enough, they Niwa'd their opponents. It's always nice to have a signature shot. Especially a cool, creative one, right?
The Swedish player, Appelgren, people used to talk about appling the ball back. When you're away from the table, you spin the ball back, and that's what Appelgren did well. So that's the only, I was trying to think then, is there something else? It is and again, it's food. We're appling the ball back.
Thanks to his parents for that one, or maybe the heritage of the family. Timeout here on the other side with the Dark Knight and Dapang. Yeah, I mean, that's essentially fishing now, yeah? I was talking to a really lovely, attractive woman that I should introduce you to. Her name is Jill Parker. We were talking about where fishing comes from. You ever think about that one? He's thinking.
I call it fishing. You know, appling the ball back, fishing the ball back. I'm thinking whether it's, you know, when you're fishing, you're just waiting for a fish to bite, and so you're keeping the ball on, waiting for an opportunity to go at them with power. So you're fishing around, you're keeping the ball on the table, you're waiting for a bite, in you go. Sound good?
Don, this is exactly what Jill Parker and I came up with after serious, intense discussion. But speaking of serious, intense discussion, Liang Jingkun and Ling Gaoyuan just had 1 minute to find some answers. Again, they've got a steep incline, a long road out of this deficit from down 0-3. In terms of attacks, I think they could take probably a page out of the Wang Chuqin autobiography. Something aggressive in near the table. Oh man, just not time. This is spectacular. I mean, Chuqin's 29 years old, and this is an 18-year-old pulling a Chuqin out here, along with everything else, including standard aggressive backhands. That's something that, I mean, Chuqin has a dangerous backhand, but I don't know if I'd call it consistent or dependable. Tough way to come back from a timeout.
Before this final started, I thought Wang Chuqin is going to be the weak link. Can they expose him? He's the man of the match.
Yeah, I mean, you were right. From the start of the match, he was the weak link, and it didn't take long for that to turn around. I mean, Ma Long's almost been just chilling on his coattails. Almost brings it back, catches the net post.
Question is, can he keep it going for another 5-6 points?
I think right now it would take something short of a miracle, in the sense that even if he has a few blunders, they're up by 4 halfway through, although we've seen bigger comebacks. Woo! That one hopped right back over the net. I mean, that's fortunate. It's quality spin, it's a quality receive, but that stuff, those are their biggest fans. Sorry, I couldn't resist. I was talking about the girls, not the players, by the way. Little break off the net right back. TTK, table tennis karma. The ball is round, Don.
And Wang Chuqin, here he goes.
That shot, I mean, in super slow motion, you'll get to see the reaction to it, but it's just so physical. The backhand side as well. I mean, they test the rackets for illegal glue, but do they test for gunpowder? I mean, look how much explosion he has on these shots on both sides of the racket. Caught Don off guard there. Quick safety alert. Like, excuse me? Here we go. Now this is what Liang Jingkun is one capable of. They both are, but it's out of most people's comfort zone to play with the speed and I'd say the bravery that Wang Chuqin has been playing with consistently, and his percentages are sky high. Yeah, guy in the front. We heard you saying Jiao.
Go Ma Long. I think Ma Long may take over if his partner just gets a little bit nervous at the end, but there's no signs of that.
Well, softer spinny one, but the placement's just right. I think it's got to be so endearing. Can you imagine if you're watching this in China right now and you're seeing people from around the world, foreigners, chanting in your language, Jiao Ma Long? Welcome to the club.
5, 9.
Reminds me of if you can't beat them, join them. I'm like a phrase so famous you don't need to finish, but I will anyway. Still 4 points out in front, 2 points away from a spot in the final in red. Ma Long to recover that. He's so patient. I mean, this was a tricky flick. It was out down to the forehand side. It would have been natural for Ma Long to start turning to set up for the forehand there, but he's fast and he didn't. He's like, I can wait, I've got time. 5 game and match points. Youth Olympic gold medalist and a finalist with the dictator, Wang Chuqin. Smoke trails behind him, simply en fuego, could not be stopped. Well, a chance for Ma Long to rest a little bit. Wang Chuqin and Ma Long have shut down the Dark Knight Lin Gaoyuan and Da Pang, Liang Jingkun. So bronze medalists for the men in black. But we've got 2 medals left. One is a shiny grayish silver, and the other is a sparkly gold. Ma Long and Wang Chuqin very well could be the favorites, but we've got one other semi-final match to determine who will join them for the final battle. It'll be the Portuguese men, Tiago Apollonia and Joao Montero, with Romania's Ovidiu Ionescu and Spain's Alvaro Robles. We're gonna have an interview in just a moment. Don, any final thoughts on the match?
Man of the match, Wang Chuqin. Simple as that.
Simple as that. You heard it from Don Parker himself. So it is official. Let's go down to hear what Ma Long and the man of the match, Wang Chuqin, have to say.
Your opponents because you are teammates, so you must know each other very well. 恭喜你们取得了胜利，有没有想到会是一个4比0的结果？因为你们彼此都非常熟悉嘛。
这个比分肯定是没有想到，特别是我觉得今天前2局吧，在开局方面我们都是落后，能够咬回来。我觉得2比0领先以后，确实心态上能够好了很多。然后特别今天王楚钦，我觉得发挥的还是非常好吧。
Yeah, indeed, we didn't expect it would be a 4-2-0 victory, especially in the first 2 games. We were down in the very beginning, but then we stuck to the match, especially my partner, Wang Chuqin. He did a great job. So how would you prepare for the final? Because you said now you are playing better and better. 接下去你们会怎么准备决赛呢？因为之前你们也说觉得自己就适应得越来越好。
我觉得接下来的比赛也一样很艰难吧，一定要做好困难准备吧。觉得打到这个份上了，肯定最后一下也肯定自己希望能去取得胜利吧。
So I think it would be a tough match in the final, so we will prepare for the difficulties we may encounter because now it's the end in the final, so we want to try our best for the victory. Thank you. 谢谢啊，这个签名。
Well, there you have it, the victors here in the semifinals. Ma Long having to use his sweaty hands with a dry shirt to get the cap off. The dictator is forgiven. Cool signature there with a little dimple over it, and Wang Chuqin to join. I wonder what they do with these glasses, these pieces of glass here with the signatures, Don. Well, Don's sitting by in just a minute, but
sorry, I just pressed my button to go off air. No, They'd be a nice little memento for some volunteers. Auction them, raise a bit of money for the local clubs. Several possibilities. It looks like you'd be after a few.
I'd leave them for the volunteers. I'd scalp them and sell them on eBay. No, I wouldn't. But I did meet a girl earlier today who was a volunteer just to give the Fan Zhendong fans something. Fan Zhendong gave her his shirt, his table tennis uniform with his name on it after the tournament as a way of saying thank you for taking care of me throughout the week. So a nice gesture. The players so generous out here. And big thanks to all the volunteers, but what a performance again from the man Wang Chuqin and the dictator Ma Long for a 4-0 victory. Stick around for the European doubles battle on the semifinal side, the second side, for a place in the final with Wang Chuqin and Ma Long. Stay right here.